Hi, I'm Jeff Scott from JetSurf Wave Riders. Today's video is about setup of your board, setup of your equipment. When you're trying to look at, are you going to be looking to set yourself up for riding waves? Are you setting yourself up for racing? Are you setting yourself up for blasting around on the lake having fun? So there's going to be a few little things I'm going to take you through. We've got two boards here, both the JetSurf Race. One of them is a standard JetSurf Race, which is this one here. And this is a 2017 model. This one is the 2018 JetSurf Race Titanium. This is actually fuel injection model board. So the difference between the two, really, the hull, the actual shape of the board, very similar. Not really a difference between the two. There's just a difference in terms of performance. So the titanium would be more powerful. It would be, they're like 30% more powerful or something. If you're trying to race competitively, Motor Surf World Cup, and you're an adult rider, you need a titanium, that's it. If you're just blasting around on the lake, if you're wave riding, I would say that the JetSurf Race non-titanium is ideal for you. And then there's also the GP100, which is perhaps a bit more of a just general all-round family board. But they also do have a tube now, which is the extra buoyancy thing, which actually you could get JetSurf Race, stick a tube on it, the whole family could use it. It's just, be perfect. Then if you're going to do wave riding, you could use the same JetSurf Race without the tube. But if you're going to do competition, Motor Surf World Cup, you're going to need a titanium. First we're going to talk about is foot pads. So what we got here for the foot pads, this is my standard JetSurf Race, and it's quite a flat foot pad. There's a little bit of a groove here which you can get your toes over, and this is ideal for wave riding and general free riding. So that of freestyling, I would say wave riding and freestyling, it's ideal. This is the Race Titanium. This is my 2018 model, and if you can see these foot pads, they're really raised up on the heel edge, and they've also got a really big groove for your toes to grip hold of as well here. And these foot pads, they're ideal for racing, like to keep you in the board, keep you holding on with the foot pads with your feet. They're perfect. They're really good. So you've got this nice big heel edge here on the front foot pad. You've got the nice big corner heel edge on the rear foot pad, and both of them have got this big high raised toe grip. So that's perfect if you're racing. However, I found that if you're actually going to be doing freestyling, if you're going to be doing lots of jumps off the back of the boats, flips, whatever, if you're going to be wave riding, you're going to get nailed by a wave and bum, you're getting rolled, you actually want the board to come off your feet. So you don't want to be stuck in the board if you're doing like jumps, freestyle. You don't want to be stuck in the board if you're getting nailed by a wave. So foot pads, I would say the flat ones if you're doing wave riding or freestyling, the raised race ones here if you're using the board for racing, or if you're using the board in a way that you're not planning to fall off the board, which is not for me. I'm falling off the board a good few times every session. Maybe 50 times, who knows, like a lot of times in a session. So it's really important for me to be able to have that board just come off of the feet if I'm getting nailed by the wave. Next thing, closely related, is the foot straps. So these foot straps here, these ones are just an adjustable strap. So that adjustable strap I found works really well for me actually. The new Race Titanium, it come with the ratchet ones. The ratchet ones, which are here, some people absolutely love these because they can really ratchet their feet in tight. They can put their feet onto the board, do a couple of clicks, and they've easily adjusted their foot strap, so they're stuck in the board, the feet are really tight in the board, and they like that. For me, I don't really like that. I don't adjust the foot straps when I'm riding. So even if I'm racing, I just put my feet in, and I don't want to adjust them during the race. So if I'm starting from the line, I'm going to fly away to the corner, do the race, and I'm not going to touch my foot straps. But what I have found is with these foot straps here, what you could do, possibly, is close them up by accident. So it depends on how you're going to be doing the starts for the racing. The Motor Surf World Cup, I found that at Boston Lakes, we did a lane start. We didn't have a race stand to launch from. So it was a case, hold the board, put it in the water, and you go full pelt laying on the board towards the first corner. And at that point, you could be laying on these straps, closing them up. And then you get to the corner, you can't put your feet in the strap. You've got to reach down, loosen the strap. I've also found the same thing riding waves. So I get nailed, I fall off the board, and I'm collecting myself, I'm laying on the board, I'm trying to get back out, I've got waves coming all over the place, shore break, trying to pound me, and I'm trying to stand up on the board, and I can only just get a couple of toes in because I've closed it up in the whole process of getting nailed on the board and getting back up again. So these ones haven't really worked for me, just because I don't need my feet tight in the straps. I don't need the variable have it loose then have it tight. It's not necessary for me. So I've actually just changed these for the race board as well. I've just fitted some of the just the real basic straps. So I'm going to see how they go for me for this season, for the racing, and yeah, for the wave riding. I've used them anyway that way. I'm just going to stick with them. Next topic, breather. So actually this is talking about your fuel tank breather. Typically, you know, if you put your fuel tank in, you've got the little clear hose and it goes all the way through the board, and then it goes up and breathes out the snorkel. Because, like, as I said, getting nailed a lot in the waves, the board turning over in the water, the waves breaking over the front of the board, water is going inside that nose, and I think that it does enable the breather to collect some water, suck it through the tube towards the fuel tank. So these new fuel tanks, even if you've got from 2017 on, this one is a 2017 on fuel tank. The way that it works is it's got like a membrane in there, so the fuel actually doesn't leak out of the overflow. Even if you're pouring it, whichever way you pour this tank up, the fuel doesn't actually leak out of it. So it's really not necessary to have that breather. For me, in my case, I don't feel it's necessary to have that breather. Just to not have the water going inside that tank, not have my carburetor going to get bunged up inside this board, or whatever it might do to the fuel injection system on the new titanium. I've just gone with that cut short breather for both of my boards. Next thing we're talking about is the leash. So the safety leash, for when you want to keep the board attached to you. If you're riding waves, the board should be attached to you. If you're racing, you want to keep the board attached to you. And to be honest, I can't really see a circumstance where I wouldn't want to use a leash. But maybe if you're just blasting around the lake, you don't want the leash, or you don't like using a leash. There's two different types here. This one here is a boogie boarders leash. This is a coiled up leash, and this would really go around the bicep. I could put it on my foot, I'm sure, but that's the way it's designed to go, is onto the bicep, and that's the way I would use it. This is actually perfect. This is quite a long boogie boarders leash. This is 160 centimeters, and it's ideal. It's ideal for racing. Actually, it's ideal in the waves too. So as long as the waves aren't too big, it's just perfect. That leash all the way around, and connecting it to one of the carry handles here, not your controller. You don't want to put excess pull on this. Like if you're going to get nailed in a wave, you fall off and your board's being held on by the leash, there's quite a pull on that. You don't want to attach that to the handle. Let go of the handle, let the leash take the strain. And I think if you don't have a leash, you might be trying to hold onto your board for dear life with this handle, and it's not good to put that much stress on your handle. If we're talking the next step up, like big wave surfing, I guess I am preparing for another big wave trip this year. Hopefully this month is February 2019. I hope to try to go to Nazaré again if the conditions are good. And I do want to get myself set up in a way that perhaps I got a longer leash. If I'm caught with some water on the inside, some waves coming on the smaller waves that are there, perhaps I can just swim down underneath the water and have a long leash attached to the board. So I have a Dakine Piahi 12-foot leash here. So I guess that's basically, you know, that is a real long leash. 12 foot, you're looking like 4 meters long. So that's a long leash, considerably longer than the other boogie boarders leash, and that would allow me, that attached to my foot, it will allow me to swim down, and it's also got a quick release here. This long leash shouldn't be used in like a busy kind of area, so it's not going to be suitable. It'd be very dangerous to other people around you, surfers and things in the water, to use a big long leash unnecessarily. But if it's a big wave, there's not too many people out, then I think this is going to be the best solution. I've also got this attached to got a custom fin plate on this, which I've attached the leash to as well. I found this is a good area. It doesn't seem to pull on my leg too much being attached here. The jet seems to come out next to it. It doesn't seem to cause me a problem. I quite like it. It feels comfortable in the water, drag along behind me. And also what I found is when I used to try a leg leash and I had it attached to like the screws on the board up here, I used to find that the leash would then get caught on the underneath of the foot pads, and it would really kind of bend up the foot pads and sort of damage them and be a big hassle. I also found by attaching a leg leash to like these type of bolts here is that I probably damage the bolts on the inside of the board, the captive nuts that stay captive so you can undo the foot pads. I think time you start attaching leashes to these and you get them pulled in the waves, you're going to damage them, and then you can't undo your foot straps, you can't do them up. The captive bolt on the inside is gone, you've broken it, you've damaged it, and then it's a real problem to actually put like a spanner on the underneath of the board to access them nuts afterwards. So that's the reason I've gone with this custom mounting point, and I've got a plate there which is bolted to the actual whole underside of the board. So I'm putting the stress of the pull through like a good few bolts here. There's six bolts along the sides and 2 in the middle, so it's kind of taking it through to 8 bolts from this leash. That's a good mounting point. I've also gone with a custom fin, like a smaller fin. I found that in going down the wave face, a big fast wave face, I was getting too much lift on the board, it was too unsettled. So I'm going to be testing this. I don't know whether, I've tested it in the local waves and it seems to be pretty good so far, but I haven't had a big test on a big wave day yet. So whether or not this is the way forward, or whether it is the JetSurf fin, or whether there's going to be another solution, I don't quite know. I know that this fin is too big in terms of anything else that we kind of have if you're off the throttle and you're just flying down the wave face. But the JetSurf does have a unique push-pull thing going on. So the fin is pushing you up out the water, but actually if you do blast the throttle a bit, the scoop sucks the board back down again. So I think that a bigger fin than normal actually does kind of work out for the JetSurf. But let's see, I'm going to be testing this one, and I'll let you know how that gets on. Next thing, helmet. I think the traditional, where we're racing with the JetSurf, we're using a full face helmet, and this full face helmet, I think for a big wave day is just too much. That's too much surface area on your head. It's making your head twice as big or whatever, a lot bigger than it needs to be. And you think if the wave force, the whiplash, if you're getting nailed by a wave with a lot of force, I think there's a lot of force to put through on your neck. And I found that these peaks, I've just torn them off before. I've had a big wave come over and just snap the peak off. So I'm not using this style really in the waves, and I think particularly for the big waves it needs to be something smaller on the head. And this is the style helmet which I'm going non-full face for the waves at the moment anyway. So, and that's quite a lightweight. It's less resistance, less surface area on your head. It doesn't have that peak to get ripped off with the wave either. Life vest. I guess a lot of people really with riding JetSurfs, I see them kind of going around with an impact vest. Probably offers very little buoyancy. I was using an actual buoyancy aid rather than one of the impact vests, which is this one, which I've used for my small wave riding so far. But also when I'm talking about wanting to duck underneath the water, to swim down underneath a wave, and having this leash set up, if I've got a buoyancy aid like this, there's actually no way of swimming down under the water with that on. If you've tried it, you probably just end up with your bum in the air and that's it, and your head down under the water and the back showing out the water. So it doesn't really do much. So what I've kind of done is I've teamed up here with Blue Soup. They offer a variable buoyancy life vest, buoyancy aid, flotation vest, whatever the terminology will be for it. And what this is basically there's no buoyancy to it. As it stands like this, it's just a vest that goes over the top, but it has CO2 canisters inside of it. And these CO2 canisters, 2 of them on this particular one, both 33 gram CO2 canisters. So you can deploy them by pulling on either of these tabs here. One tab will deploy one of the canisters and it will fill up the vest, maximum buoyancy, like the equivalent that you're likely to get with a big, huge life vest, buoyancy coming from that. And then it would be a case that you could then deflate the vest if you need to, and you've still got one left to pull. There's dual canisters in this particular one. They do have 4 canister models too. So that's the next thing. Perhaps I'd be able to swim down underneath the waves, let the bigger wave come over the top, and then I can swim back up, get on the board and get out of there. If it was to go wrong and get nailed by a big wave, then I can pull the vest, pull the toggle, and I've got maximum buoyancy. I'm going to really fly up out the water, up back in the head above the water position, head up, face up position. So I think that's a really important thing, is this Blue Soup variable buoyancy vest. So pull the toggle, you got the inflation, you probably got enough float to like attach your board. If your board was sinking somewhere, it probably is going to float the board no problem, as well as your body, like if you're waiting to be recovered, rather than trying to your board sucking you under the water and you have to kind of let your board go in that worst case scenario. So I think that's going to be a really good thing to have, is that blue suit vest. I'm really impressed with this so far. Next thing we're talking about is the ICU. So with the JetSurf ICU, I did find last year in Nazaré, I had to bail out of a big wave. I jumped off the back as it was starting to close, and I landed in the trough, and I let the engine stall on the board. And then I was in a position where I had to kind of take the key back out, put the key back in, and then wait the 10 seconds or so for the engine to start. And that was a very scary 10 seconds waiting for that. I really wanted to respond quicker, so I've done some programming with it. I've been in touch with Spinyak from the factory, and he's been able me to program this ECU so it's going to start faster. So that's going to be something else, to be able to have that quick reaction, get out of trouble, get started and get out of there as fast as possible. Also, I've not really had a tick over on the board, so I've just kind of let it, if I let go of the throttle, the engine dies. But I have turned the tick over up just recently because I want that engine to carry on running. So if I don't let go of the handle, the engine's still running, get out of there quick. And then that's pretty much it. Next thing, I'm just kind of looking at this like marine radio, trying to be, I've been trying to work with a couple of different things, headsets, different positionings for this, to try and use this on the water, so perhaps we can get contact with someone on the beach. Somewhere like Nazaré, to be able to be kind of closer to the wave and have a spotter on the beach. If there's another set wave coming from behind, then he can notify me and I can get out of the way and wait for the next one. But it would mean that I would be able to sort of be waiting when the next one comes. I could be closer inside. I found that it was a lot of work, even with the speed of the JetSurf, to kind of come out on that wave from out the back while it was still swell. After I'm looking to see if there's another set wave coming, I see, okay, there's not, and now I'm trying to kind of like catch up with the one that's in front of me almost, and then go down the wave face. And with that bit of chop on it, it's, you know, it was really challenging just to get past the very non-steep section of the wave, just to get in the wave, and then I'm kind of, you're on the back foot a little bit. So I'd rather be a bit closer inside and then able to catch the wave by having that spotter, having that feedback information. Other than that, I've been using an Apple Watch. I found it really handy. Apple Watch to time in terms of how long I've got left for the fuel, how long I've been running for, and also there is like communication on this. There's GPS and the ability to make a telephone call. So thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoy your wave sessions. Hopefully you found some of this interesting, and it might change the way that you're going to order your board from JetSurf, whether you're going to change the foot straps, change the foot pads, or to change the type of board that you're going to order. Hope this is good information for you. Yeah, follow me on the trip to Nazaré this year if I manage to make it, if the conditions are there and I manage to be available to go there. It'd be great to have your support, whether it's just online or whether you come over and join us. It'll be great. Thanks for watching.